Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dan on Sports. What in the name of Yogi Berra is going on here? Catchers are not going to be calling pitches, particularly if you're with the Miami Marlins. Is this the new trend right now? The new trend that now pitches are going to be called from the dugout? That's what the Marlins are going to do. The Miami Marlins will not have their catchers call the pitches in the 2026 season. It's going to come from the dugout. Here's Marlins president Peter Bendix. It is something that we truly believe is going to help us win more baseball games. Well, I guess if you're the Marlins, whatever it takes to win baseball games, you're going to do it. But the Marlins actually did it the final 9 games last year and compiled an earned run average of 3.11. Now, keep in mind, the Marlins knocked the Mets out of the playoff race, eliminated the Mets from the playoffs last year, and they used that system. Now, granted, it was just a small sample size, but over those 9 games, including the games that knocked the Mets out of the playoffs, they had a 3.11 ERA. Now, this all last year started with Alan Leachman, who was the assistant pitching coach for the Marlins. He was calling the pitches last year. He is now the new pitching coach of the revamped Colorado Rockies, and there is the possibility the Rockies could do the same thing. Now, from what I'm reading, and this was an interesting story in the Boston Globe, from what I'm reading, the Rockies are going to experiment with this during spring training. I mean, if you don't experiment in spring training, when are you going to experiment, right? But there is the chance you could see the Rockies doing this in the 2026 season. They, and at the very least, they have been quoted in the story as saying they are open to this approach. The Giants are also interested in doing this. They might have the pitches being called from the dugout. I don't know if this is the result of so many people are concerned that signals are being stolen. And that's why you saw, for example, the crackdown by Major League Baseball coaches must stay in the coaching lines on the third and first base sides. No more wandering out of the coaching boxes. And there was the fear pitches were being tipped and the coaches were relaying the information to the hitters. I don't know, but you could see more teams do it. Red Sox pitcher Garrett Crochet is quoted as saying he's not a fan of this. He's not a fan of the pitches being called from the dugout. His words in the Boston Globe, it feels too calculated, and that there are more cons than pros. Jason Varitek, who's a coach of the Red Sox, outstanding catcher, and according to the Globe story, he had volumes on hitters, on how hitters should be pitched, etc. You would think that because he was so precise in his approach, he would be against this, but it's just the opposite. He says you've got to be able to adapt. And here's his quote: if it works, if this works, if you see teams are successful, pitching staffs are successful because the signals are being called from the dugout rather than from the catcher, he says, if it works, all 30 teams will be doing it. You can't be afraid to adapt. And I would have to say I would agree with him. I don't agree with the approach, by the way. Like I said, what in the name of Yogi Berra is going on here? You can't be this robotic. But that said, the Marlins have done it. Other teams are looking into doing it. And if it works, as Varitek said, all 30 teams will be doing it. In recent years, I mean over the last quarter of a century, remember Jorge Posada of the Yankees, he would paint his fingernails so that the pitcher would be able to pick up the signals. And how many times did Billy Martin, when he managed the Yankees or any team, occasionally relayed pitches to be called, relayed signals to the catcher, who then relayed the signal to the pitcher? But I don't know. You got to be open to change. You've got to adapt, like Varitek said. But have we gotten so precise that these catchers are tipping off the signals no matter what is being done to disguise it? And so now the signals have to be relayed from the dugout. We'll see. But imagine back in the day, be it Yogi Berra, be it Johnny Bench, be it Gary Carter, catchers not calling the signals. It now has to come from the dugout. I'll tell you what, 2026 is going to be an interesting baseball season in more ways than one. That's going to do it for Dan on Sports. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thank you for subscribing to my newsletter. And to do that, you could go to danonsports.com. See you later.